I recently saved up a lot of money and I bought myself a car, so now there's like nothing in there anymore.
I don't know if I have a checking, I don't think I have a checking account.
With my savings account that I have now, I only, the paychecks I get from working, I just put it in there in case of emergency.
What emergencies do you have in the freshman year?
If you have money or other valuables, you'll certainly want to find a safe place to store them. And it's likely that the first place you'll think of is a bank. Why? Because one function that a bank serves is to safely hold your money. But banks are more than just secure repositories for cash. They provide an easy way for their customers, that's you and me, to access a whole range of services and benefits.
I'm pretty sure that a lot of people wouldn't feel comfortable storing their money in their house, especially if it's a huge, large sum. And by having these financial institutions, they're there for a reason. They're there to help you, with your financial needs. And I think that people should be aware of the opportunities that are provided by these financial institutions, the fact that there's so many different types of deposits that people can make.
All young people should open a savings account and a checking account. Really try to do your transactions with a financial institution that is reputable and one that you trust.
When I tend to have extra money in my pocket, I end up spending on stupid things.
Yeah, me too.
So I'd rather have it in the bank.
It's safe. And it's like guaranteed, like the bank guarantee. So,
plus you get interest too.
Yeah, interest, so why not?
There are advantages to having a bank account. You can make deposits, write checks to pay your bills, get a debit card, which enables you to make purchases directly from a checking account, or you can save your money by opening a savings account.
I think it's important to have a relationship or knowledge of a bank and feel comfortable going into a bank so that you can start saving your money, so that you're not afraid of being in the financial arena. And the most basic way to begin doing that is by establishing a relationship with a bank. Simple things such as setting up a checking account, managing your register as you write checks, getting an ATM card and being able to withdraw money when you need it, making sure that you balance your checkbook so that you don't have overdraft fees, and understanding that that is a responsibility, but it's not something that is difficult to do.
Although bank accounts are convenient and offer other advantages, as many as 25 million households in the United States are unbanked. How do these people manage their financial affairs?
Unfortunately, in the United States, there is a high percentage of Americans that are unbanked, that do not have a relationship with a bank. Therefore, they utilize check cashing facilities. By being unbanked, you're not able to take advantage of many of the opportunities that banks do offer you in terms of earning interest on your money, in terms of lower fees for different accounts that you might establish.
Being unbanked is costly. True, check cashing businesses will cash your paycheck, but they often charge a very high fee. And if you need to borrow money in a payday loan establishment, another alternative, you'd better be prepared to repay that loan quickly because the interest can add up fast.
We're finding that with many payday lenders that the annualized rate of interest that they're charging can be upwards to 100, 200, 300%. And this is extremely high.
It's a challenge, particularly within low and moderate income communities, to steer people away from payday lenders.
Many Hispanics don't have a very good relationship with banks because in their home countries, they probably did not have a banking relationship. I know that in Mexico, I think about 80% of the population does not have any kind of banking relationship.
It often takes experienced individuals within the community to help people get started.
When people come in for the first account, some of the issues that I face are the fees, what we charge as a bank, why we charge them. They're a bit weary of bringing their money here. Some of them are used to using money orders. They don't like getting charged for cashing their checks. One of the myths that's out there is that banks are out to get you with their fees, when in reality, we're trying to make it simple for you. We offer various products that will help you become more financially responsible. And we offer plenty of accounts that offer no fees. So that's one of the things. We're here to build a relationship with you. Hi. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
The first account you'll probably open at a bank is a checking account.
What can we do for you today, Sonia?
I'm here to look to open up an account.
Okay. Do you know what type of account you're
I don't. I've never had an account.
At banks, there are different accounts. Some of them have no fees, some of them have fees attached. And it's really incumbent upon you to check around and make sure that you are getting the account that will really work for you.
Let me ask you a couple of questions. Do you own your home? Or are you a student, or at your job, do you...
I'm a full-time student.
You are a full-time student? Okay, great. You do qualify for a free checking account.
First and foremost, most banks are interested in being in a relationship which is long-term and supportive of the consumer meeting their various financial goals and aspirations. To that extent, they provide a range of products that are important to a consumer at various stages of their life cycle. This enables people over time to move from perhaps a pure depository checking kind of relationship to a savings kind of relationship to an investing kind of relationship, and then potentially into a borrowing relationship when you want to make those big ticket purchases, as we talked about earlier, things like housing, etc.
Is there a particular reason why you've never had an account?
Bank fees just scare me. I've just dealt with money, just got money orders. But now that I've cashed my check here, I don't have an account. They charge me $5 each Friday to cash it. Right. And they said if I opened up an account, I can cash my check for free.
This is true.
And you'll also be able to deposit checks that others write to you. There are many different kinds of checking accounts. Some pay interest. Some charge monthly fees if your balance drops below a certain amount. Others offer overdraft protection if you write a check for more than you have in your account.
Do you have overdraft protection for that, just in case?
Yes. There are two forms where we can take it out, or to cover you for overdraft. We can do it through a savings account or a credit card.
As a consumer, you'll need to figure out your needs and shop around for the best deal based on your lifestyle. Consider several banks before making your choice, and be sure it's FDIC insured, which means if the bank fails, the U.S. government will see that you get back your funds up to $100,000. If you qualify, you might also consider a credit union, which operates like a bank, except it's owned and operated by the people who use its services, like members of unions or trade associations.
Okay, and that's pretty much it from here. I'm just going to go ahead and give you your new account kit. It includes your privacy notice, the service and charges, and also your checkbook. And it also has my personal business card. If I can be of any more assistance, my numbers are on there. Everything's there.
All right, thank you.
Thanks very much, Sonia. Bye-bye.
There's a number of good reasons why a young person should be looking to have a relationship with a bank as opposed to an alternative financial services provider.
When you have access to your own money at home, you're more likely to spend more on that money on more things.
It's more likely to lose it. Like, I've had like money like stolen. Like, if you have sisters and brothers, like, you don't know, like, if there's a party or whatever and they're messed up or whatever, they're gonna take your money. My mom puts in every month or whatever, and then I could just like spend it. It's like, it's an ATM card.
On that worksheet that you have in front of you, you have two bubbles. One says checking account, the other says savings account. Let's look at the checking account bubble first. What comes to mind when you hear the word checking account? Jonathan, what comes to mind?
Direct deposit.
Direct deposit, great. Jermaine, what comes to mind when you think about having a student checking account?
You keep track of your records?
You're gonna keep track of all your records. The key thing here is that you're gonna have records of every time you spend money. Every time you swipe your debit card or write out a personal check, you'll be able to keep a record. You keep a record in your check register, and you'll have a record with your bank statement, and you can check it again online when you look at your statement.
It's important that your check register, the record you keep of all your checks and deposits, is accurate and up to date. It's also important to understand that when you deposit a check, it may take a few days for the funds to be transferred to your account. Unless your bank has overdraft protection, you need to wait for the check you deposited to clear before writing a check. If not, your check will be returned or bounced, and your bill will remain unpaid. You may be hit with a bank fee, which can be as much as $40 or $50. It's also important to remember that overdraft protection may cost you money and should only be used in an emergency.
When we get freshmen into dynamics of business, they really have no understanding about what a checkbook is, except that they see their parents with one, or they see an older brother or sister with one. And it's really important for them to understand how to use that check and how to write it out and where their signature goes, and how many checks a month a typical person could write.
What is the key thing to remember when we're writing a check? And what is that we're keeping on those gray lines in that register? Sarah, what do we call that?
The running balance.
We call it a running balance. Perfect. Okay? That's the most important thing. You always want to know how much money is in your account. Your checking account sees daily activity. Okay, whether it's a deposit or a withdrawal, you might be taking money out, you might swipe your debit card to get gas in the car. You're going to use that account on a daily basis.
Once you have a checking account for day-to-day deposits and checks, the next step is to open a savings account. The savings account not only allows you to manage your money, but it also gives you the opportunity to plan for unforeseen future expenses.
Perhaps you should start right now putting aside money for emergencies. Get in the habit of having 3 to 6 months of an emergency reserve. It's a very important habit to get into. In this economy, we hope everybody who's graduating from college is going to get the best job, the job that they want, but this market is very tough. And people lose jobs, and they need to have a cushion, and that's one way to start very early on, having a cushion.
For us, we show students that saving is really important just by calculations, that if every paycheck you put away $10 a week, how much could you have at the end of the year? Some students get paid monthly. If once a month you put away $50, what could you have at the end of the year? And then what could you have at the end of 4 years? So what could you possibly save at the end of high school? You could really walk away with a few $1,000s if you save correctly. And once they see the numbers and they can actually add and subtract themselves with the calculation, they can see what their budget could look like and what their savings accounts could look like.
See if you can start now building up 3 months of whatever the expenses are that you have for the month, whether it's the bus rides that you take to school or, you know, the entertainment that you like to have on the weekends, the movies, dinners, the parties you like to go to, if you're going to clubs, how much you spend on that.
Savings account, okay, the key word there, save, is long term. Okay, we want that money to sit, we want it to grow interest, and we want it there in the case of an emergency, or to help us save for an expense that we might foresee in the future. Okay, we can foresee in a couple of years you'll be applying to college. Those application fees start to add up. That might be something that you'd like to save for.
If you start at 18, invest like a little bit amount of money, you know, you can end up with like $1 million easily, you know. So why not do that?
You put like $100 in a savings account for a month, starting when you're 18 or something. By, I forgot what age, but by a certain age you'll be able to have $1 million.
Sometimes. It depends.
Yeah.
You have to do some other things.
Checking.
You have to do some other things. So you probably have to get stock market, something, you know.
You got to think about your future. And before you know it, I'm going to be off to college, and I'm going to need to know what to do. So I like these classes.
Once you learn everything that we learned already, it seems like really simple. But like if you think about it, you really didn't know it before.
Yeah.
It is simple stuff once you learn it. Just you got to learn it.
A bank account is the first step towards achieving financial independence, the kind of independence we all desire. So armed with this knowledge, do some research and find a bank you can work with. Remember, it's important to establish a checking and a savings account, and hopefully you'll then be in a position to take advantage of some of the other services banks have to offer, like auto and college loans, retirement savings accounts, and credit card services. Armed with the proper financial tools, you'll soon be on your way to making your money grow.